Stephen Borlick, Executive Director of the New Jersey Motion Picture Commission, and on behalf of our commissioners and staff, and actually our Vice Chairman, David Smith, that is here with us today. Welcome you to this celebration of a very remarkable man. We are co-sponsoring this event with the New Jersey Department of State and the City of Trenton, and I thank them for helping to make this day possible. I'd also like to thank Ken Lipkowitz for that beautiful piano music you were hearing. Ken is a native of Trenton, retired physician, and now performs as a professional musician. Interestingly, as a child, Ken took lessons from Eddie Hatrack, who was a longtime friend of Ernie Kovacs, and actually played piano on his television show. Everybody has a connection there. We'll reveal that as we go along. And a few more quick acknowledgments. A number of people worked diligently to make this day possible, and they should be thanked. First, thanks to Secretary of State Deisha Wei, and the Department of State's Chief of Staff, Jay Boone, whose support has been invaluable and essential. We wouldn't be here today without it. Thanks to my staff at the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission. Liz Parchman has been working on this event for months and has done yeoman work, woman work. Partly because she likes to take on a challenge, and partly because I dumped it in her lap. Charles Richard and Joe Mara are here today helping us as well. Thank you for that. And our Associate Director, David Schoner, is manning the phones back in Newark to keep the commission running, but he was instrumental in publicizing the event on social media, and we appreciate that. Lastly, thanks to Tom Gilmore of the Trenton Downtown Association. Tom, are you here? Hopefully it's coming. Anyway, he's one of the first persons I approached with the idea of doing this celebration, and he's been instrumental in making things happen as well. Tom's been the commission's boots on the ground guy in Trenton. I'm not sure if that's because he volunteered or because we drafted him, but nevertheless, the result has been just the same. For those of you who are not familiar with the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission, we are a state agency within the Business Action Center. It's one of the nation's, one of the world's leading silent film companies, I would say. He performs his original scores on both piano and organ, theater organ. For more than 35 years, Ben has created and performed live scores for several hundred silent films. Ben is the resident accompanist at the Museum of Modern Art and at the Library of Congress's Packard Campus Theater. If you collect DVDs and Blu-rays of silent films, and I've probably got a zillion of them myself, you're a dedicated viewer of TCM, then you probably have heard his work. Ben also created the first Ernie Kovacs website, or one of the first Ernie Kovacs websites, which so impressed Ernie's former wife, Edie Adams, that she reached out to Ben and they began a long-time friendship, and this led to Ben's working with Edie's son, Josh Mills, who is with us today. And Ben eventually became the archivist for the Ernie Kovacs and Edie Adams collections, hence his presence here today. I am pleased to introduce our Master of Ceremonies.
Everyone will hear me, at least people in New Jersey. Thank you. Welcome, Trentonians. I checked, it is Trentonians. Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for coming to our program today to celebrate the life and work of Trenton's own Ernie Kovacs. There's so much of Trenton and Ernie's upbringing and his time spent personally and professionally in his work and his later work. There are names of people and towns here or nearby that wind up in his work. The name Arthur B. Kosnowski turns up in many, many sketches. And Bernie Kosnowski was the polka king of Trenton. He had a radio show on WTTN. Kosnowski, it comes up over and over in all of our sketches. So there's so much of Trenton in Ernie Kovacs. We'll have a number of guests talking about his work and his life, and we'll have about 25 minutes of clips that include some excerpts from a 1980 film about Ernie's life in Trenton. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, I want to get things started off, and I would like very pleased to introduce the New Jersey Secretary of State, Deisha Wei.
Thank you. Let's give Ben another round of applause for all she's doing. I just want to recognize and acknowledge, because she's done so much for this great state. Senator Shirley Turner's in the house. Yes. So good morning. Now, I am a mom of 4, and my husband and I, we take trips with our kids in the car. And oftentimes we hear, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So I say this because when I first got on board as the Secretary of State, one of the events that Steve Gorelick, and let's give him a round of applause, yes, was mentioning the Centennial celebration here in Trenton of Ernie Kovacs. So I would oftentimes ask my Chief of Staff, Jay Boone, when is the event? When is the event? When is the event? And so finally we are here. Yes, right? Okay. Now, I just want to give a brief welcome to all who have come today. And one of my great privileges as the New Jersey Secretary of State is overseeing New Jersey's Motion Pictures and Television Commission. And it is equally an honor to be here to celebrate a hometown hero, a first-generation American, and a true Renaissance man. Ernest Edward Kovacs shaped American television, media, and culture in profound ways. His story embodies the promise and creativity of this great state. Born here in Trenton to parents who had immigrated from Hungary in search of a better life, Ernie was inspired by his Trenton Central High School drama teacher to become an entertainer. And interestingly so, he grew up just miles away from the RCA labs of West Windsor, where technological innovation would make his future career possible with the invention of the first color television. Yes, it was here that Ernie launched his career, juggling multiple roles as an announcer for the radio station WTTM, an actor and director with the Trenton Players Guild, and a columnist with the Trentonian. This city and our great state believed in Ernie's potential, and his influence on our culture is a testament to the power of supporting young artists and prioritizing arts education. After all, his work in Trenton earned him 3 to Get Ready, the country's first regularly scheduled morning show, which inspired NBC to create the Today Show. Moreover, Ernie wasn't afraid to push boundaries or even be a little weird. His shows featured sketches, characters, pranks, and silliness, inspiring generations of comedians, late-night talk show hosts, and other entertainers. And today, as we celebrate this important centennial, we are also witnessing a tremendous revival for the film and television industry here in Jersey. Thanks to the Garden State Film and Digital Media Jobs Act, we are home to major television productions, including NBC's The Enemy Within. So on behalf of the great people of New Jersey, I am proud to celebrate Ernie Kovacs Centennial. Because of Ernie, no other state can claim that they are the first in entertainment, overall entertainment history. New Jersey owns it. So let's, that's right. New Jersey owns it. So let's continue his important legacy, enjoy the program, and thank you all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Liz Parchment, and I would like to present a proclamation and a few other things to Josh Mills of the Ernie Kovacs estate and the Josh, if you would join me. Josh is the executive director of the Ernie Kovacs estate and also the son of the late Edie Adams. So the first is a proclamation by the mayor of Trenton. Proclamation by the mayor, Ernie Kovacs Day. Whereas Ernie Kovacs attended Trenton District Schools and graduated from Trenton High School, where he was influenced by his drama teacher to pursue acting and was offered different scholarships to attend acting and singing institutions. Whereas after forming his own stock company, he received offers from directors, agents, and playwrights to be a part of their work. Whereas Ernie Kovacs' professional career started on Trenton Radio as a DJ at WTTM, and he worked at various radio stations in Trenton, New York, and Philadelphia, and won the highly coveted H.P. Davis Award, whereas a highly celebrated Trentonian columnist and broadcasting pioneer. He wrote mystery shows for radio and also created the acclaimed television show, The Ernie Kovacs Show. Whereas Ernie Kovacs was known for his quirky humor and visually experimental offbeat comedic style, and whereas Ernie Kovacs starred in numerous major motion pictures such as Operation Madball and 5 Golden Hours and Bell, Book, and Cradle. Now, therefore, be it resolved as the mayor of the city of Trenton, New Jersey, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of the United States, that January 23rd is designated as Ernie Kovacs Day. Joint legislative resolution by Senator Turner, Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson, and Assemblyman Borelli. Whereas the Senate and General Assembly of the state of New Jersey are pleased to salute the memory of Ernie Kovacs, a highly esteemed native son of the city of Trenton, Mercer County, upon the auspicious occasion of this 100th birthday, and whereas a distinguished graduate of Trenton Central High School and the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, Ernie Kovacs enjoyed a superb career as a groundbreaking television star whose quirky humor and experimental comedic style entertained families across the country and inspired generations of broadcasters. And whereas Ernie Kovacs left an indelible mark on his home city as a radio disc jockey and newspaper columnist before joining WPTZ television in Philadelphia, where he hosted several programs, including 3 to Get Ready, the first regularly scheduled early morning show in a major television market, and whereas during the golden age of television, he hosted the acclaimed Ernie Kovacs Show, which aired on 4 different networks and featured such innovations as video effects, superimpositions, blackouts, and interactions with the crew. And whereas Ernie Kovacs is especially remembered for playing such legendary characters as Eugene, Mr. Question Man, and Auntie Gruesome, and he also starred in such films as Operation Madball and Wake Me When It's Over, and wrote the book Zumar, a sophisticated novel about love and TV, and whereas an array of honors and awards bears witness to the exceptional accomplishments of Ernie Kovacs, including the Emmy Award, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, an induction into the Academy of Television Arts and Science Hall of Fame, and he was also the subject of a retrospective exhibit at the Museum of Broadcasting. And whereas although his life was cut short at the young age of 42, after he died in a car accident, Ernie Kovacs will always be remembered for setting a standard of excellence that remains a model worthy of emulation. And whereas Ernie Kovacs' life and legacy will be honored during a celebration of his centennial birthday, which will be presented by the New Jersey Department of State, the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission, the City of Trenton, and the Ernie Kovacs Estate on May 22nd, 2019 at the New Jersey State Museum Auditorium. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey that this legislature hereby recognizes the memory of Ernie Kovacs and pays tribute to his extraordinary career in entertainment and his meritorious record of service, leadership, and commitment. And be it further resolved that a duly authenticated copy of this resolution be signed by the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker and attested by the Senate Secretary and the Assembly Clerk. Stephen M. Sweeney, President of the Senate. Craig J. Coughlin, Speaker of the General Assembly. Second, 2019. Dear friends, on behalf of the entire state of New Jersey, I am pleased to extend a warm welcome to all those gathered for the Ernie Kovacs Centennial Tribute. Born in 1919, Kovacs grew up in the south side of Trenton, where he developed an early interest in performing. He was so naturally gifted that he received a scholarship to attend the John Drew Memorial Theater in East Hampton, Long Island for a summer, as well as the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York. His professional career took off shortly after, where he worked his way up from a staff member to director of special events at WWTM in Trenton over 9 years. Before 1950 and his death in 1962, Ernie was extremely successful in the television industry. He built a name for himself using visual experiments and a spontaneous, offbeat comedic style that influenced countless future programs. Unfortunately, his talent was not truly appreciated or recognized until after his fatal accident. And today, Ernie Kovacs is known as TV's first significant video artist. As governor of this home state, I commend all those who continue to celebrate Kovacs' life and legacy. Best wishes for an enjoyable and successful event. My very best, Philip D. Murphy, Governor.
Long setup, like for his sketches. I want to do, before I bring up our next special guest, just a quick shout out for those of us who discovered Ernie Kovacs in 1977 on public television. That through a television series called The Best of Ernie Kovacs was conceived and produced by a guy named John Lowell. Is that you, John? Just a quick shout out to John. Thank you so much. There's so many people who know Kovacs just because of that series. Now I'd like to bring up a special guest, Joel Hodgson, who many of you he's probably best known for Mystery Science Theater 3000, but had started out doing stand-up, usual offbeat stand-up in the 1980s, became a regular performer on the Letterman Show and Saturday Night Live, but in 1988 created Mystery Science Theater 3000, a Minneapolis television station on a production scale rather akin to what Kovacs was doing in Philadelphia, on a similar budget in some cases. The show ran for several years, but I think, as Joel has mentioned to me before we started, the key event was his meeting Edie Adams and getting to know her. And she was a huge fan of the show, and really liked exactly the kind of stuff that he was doing. The Mystery Science Theater 3000 is still around thanks to an excruciatingly successful Kickstarter. Millions of dollars was raised, and the show has been rebooted and it's back on Netflix for everyone to enjoy and to see. And to talk a little bit about Ernie Kovacs and his own influence on him, here's Joel Haas. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. There's Ben. Ben Modell. He knows so much more than I do about Kovacs, believe me. As he mentioned, I got to meet Edie and Josh, her son, at it was like an upfront thing for HBO, and it was after Mystery Science Theater. We did Mystery Science Theater locally in Minneapolis and on a UHF channel, okay? So we did 22 shows locally. Like Ben mentioned, it's very similar to the way Kovacs started out. You had to kind of use everything in the room. And we got to, I just had the good fortune of meeting Edie, and so I never met her. I never met her in Kovacs. He had died long before I came along. But like getting to know Edie was the next best thing, because she was his wife and companion for years and years until he passed. And so along with that, I got to know Josh, and at a certain point through the Dallas Video Festival, I got nominated for the Ernie Kovacs Award, which was the first award that Edie gave out, and I was really honored. And Josh and I became friends, and we've been friends ever since, and so I really wanted to be here with him, and of course Ben has been along almost that same amount of time, working with the archive, and so great to be with him too. And I want to thank the Television and Film Commission too in New Jersey for having us. So I just have a few things, but like we've heard, Taisha talked about all the amazing things Kovacs was able to accomplish in his life, springing from Trenton. And I live and work in Bucks County, and I come to Trenton all the time to get on the train, and every time I drive through town, I think about Kovacs being here and how this was just ground zero for television and ground zero for his unique way of thinking. The only story I have, there's lots of stories, but one day, at a certain point, Josh and I and Edie got together once a week up at Edie's house when I lived in LA. And our job was to survey the Kovacs archive and go through everything. So we went through the really early stuff was the Dumont. I mean, again, Ben would know all this stuff. It's the Dumont network, and of course the sound checks, the air checks from radio, which was here in Trenton, and all the way through to his his masterwork, which I think are his ABC specials, the 6 ABC specials, where I'm sure there's going to be stuff from that in this reel we're going to see. But you'll identify it because it starts very uniquely. It's an oscilloscope, and it's an oscilloscope that is, you're hearing Mac the Knife in German. And then he created a device that allowed him to seam together blackout sketches. He essentially created a new visual language, a new audio language too, that still is, you'll see it and you'll identify it immediately. It's still resonant, it's still meaningful today. This is how long ago? 60 years ago he was doing this. Or 50, how long ago? 50 years ago.
50 to 60 years.
Yeah, 50 to 60 years ago, and it's still resonant because if you look at your phone and you ask Siri a question, you get the oscilloscope on your phone. What was that, Siri? What did you say, Siri?
I'm not sure I understand.
That's okay. That's something I know Kovacs would have done. So anyway, getting to know Edie and getting to know Josh and getting to survey this material side by side with Edie was so useful because she really told us the real work, what was going on with Kovacs, how he was doing this stuff, how he was thinking of this stuff. We've heard so much groundwork about who he was, all the things he accomplished, but how does somebody get to something like that? How do you feel like you can do that? Who is that guy? Who is that person? And we know it's from Trenton. We know that's from Trenton. Before I go any further though, I wanted to mention something. When I was meeting with Edie, she gave me a gift.
you know, and we got to spend a lot of time together and she was getting older, and she gave me something that I've always treasured, but she just said, try to do something. I go, how did Kovacs do this? How did he get to this? This was my question, who was he? And she just said, well, try to do something that Kovacs would do every day. And so we're going to try to do a few of those things before we go up. What are some things in the room that Kovacs would have done? That's the other thing Edie said, use the room. That's what Kovacs was doing. He was using what's available, what he was able to get. Now, he started on radio, did local TV, and of course got to doing films as well. But anyway, getting back to what I'm talking about, Edie gave me a really wonderful treasure that I'd like to donate to the state of New Jersey. These are a pair of Kovacs' golf shoes. They're valued at $12,000. I'd like to donate those today to the Kovacs. I'm just kidding, these are my shoes. But you gotta try to do, I'm gonna try to use the room to do something Kovacs would do every day. Hey, whoa! That's the other great thing, you can just not do if the stuff isn't funny, you don't have to put it on tape. What I did want to do though is, we have an authority in the room that I wanted to meet. And we have somebody here named Louise who knew Ernie Kovacs. Yeah. Louise Gould, right? Here, let me sit next to you. Now Louise knew Ernie, and she's the best person here to tell us what Ernie was like. And can I tell them how old you are? Is that okay?
99.
Okay, so tell us about Ernie.
Well, I graduated high school with him. He and I were in the same class that did that.
It says 1936.
We went on I was in the group with him on the Washington trip, and he was a fine, fine man, young man, and the funniest person you ever met in my life.
So you went on a class trip with Ernie, right? You said there were like 6 of you, is that right?
That hung together.
Oh, right. So he must have been just a huge hand?
Well, he bought what he called the zap gun. And he zapped everything in Washington.
Wait, what's a zap gun? Is it
It
actually?
just zapped. It made a sound.
Oh, good.
And
Because that's frowned on in Washington now.
yeah.
You're not supposed to do that.
But he was a fine, wonderful man, and I enjoyed every minute that I ever was with him.
Well, that's lovely. Thanks so much for sharing, Louise. That's wonderful. Let's give a round of applause for Louise. I couldn't say it better myself. I want to thank you so much for having me, and I'm just so proud to get to be here in Trenton with you, and of course being with Josh and Ben any chance I get. And I guess there's just one other piece that is kind of a mystery that we learned from Edie that I'd like to put forward, since we have the Television and Film Commission here from Trenton. And I don't know if this is germane, but with that language that I was talking about that Ernie created with the oscilloscope and Mac the Knife in German and the blackout sketches, while we were surveying all his stuff, we hit this weird game show he did, Take Another Look. Take a good look. Take a good look. And if you watch Ernie's game show, it makes no sense. Even the guests on the show, like Hans Connery's going, this doesn't make any sense. You know, he's just like carrying on and no one, it's like Kovacs is just trying to get through it. And Edie gave us a little background on what was going on. And again, Ernie, I didn't know him, but he was a colorful person, and sometimes I guess you could say reckless, like with money and stuff like that. And he'd get in money trouble. Yeah, Josh is going a little bit, but he'd get in money trouble, and then he'd have to take on gigs he didn't necessarily want. So he took on a game show because game shows were making money at that time. And we're looking at this thing, and it doesn't make any sense as any kind of game show. But they were blackout sketches. And I said to Edie, why is Ernie doing a game show with blackout sketches? And she said that he was banking blackout sketches to reconstruct another ABC special. So you see what he was doing? He was using a stupid game show to fulfill what he could then piece together with his framing device, which was the oscilloscope with Mac the Knife in German, and create new TV shows. So he was actually so creative that he was creating TV shows while he was making other TV shows. And to me, that's the heart of Kovacs, the invention of Kovacs, and why he was amazing. We can carry on, you'll see all the stuff. You'll get to all the stuff, how ahead of his time he was, how brilliant he was. It's kind of mechanical. These are these great jokes, but who is that guy? Who is that person? We kind of learned a little bit about that, but that's kind of the mystery, and that's been what's been so fun, just ruminating about it with Josh over the years and going, you know, can we ever get to know this guy? But anyway, that's kind of the pitch, is can we take a better look? Can we use those blackout sketches, and can we seam those together into new shows? So that's the creative challenge I'm going to put forward to you. Maybe we can get together and do something like that. So thank you very much.
Quite possible. One of the fun things in going through the 2 seasons of Take a Good Look that survived was discovering how many of the clues. See, the format of the show was to be a secret guest, and the panelists were invariably Hans Conried, Edie Adams, and Cesar Romero, and they'd be shown a clue, a video clue as to the identity of the secret guest. But as Joel mentioned, the clue was so buried within this blackout sketch, there was no way you'd ever be able to figure it out. And Ernie almost seems like he's having fun putting one over on the panelists, like they're never going to get it. And finding, in going through a lot of the Take a Good Look shows, finding clues that, that whole sequence with Miklos Molnar teaching you how to make chicken molnar was actually from a guest who was a chef at the White House. So there's plenty of clues that did not get repurposed into ABC specials, that something else could be made out of them. In case you're wondering about my tie, are there any card-carrying members of the EFMS still? Okay, a couple of you. The EEFMS was like a secret club. If you watched Ernie's show, it was called the Early Eyeball Fraternal Marching Society. And you would send in for a membership, and Ernie and Edie would sign the card and send it to you because the show was so early, and Ernie, kept crazy hours. So there are a couple of ties like this I've seen, so that's why I have this. We're going to see Kovacs now, about 25 minutes I put together of Kovacs material, as well as we're going to start our section off with a documentary made in 1980 by Calvin Izard. It was initially intended as part of a multi-episode documentary series, but only one got made, and money ran out. There is a 16mm print of it in our collection, which the films and tapes were acquired in 2014 by the Library of Congress, where they're now being preserved and taken care of. And what we'll be seeing is 7 minutes of excerpts from that half-hour show, and a brand new 2K scan done by the Library of Congress Video Lab, so that's your tax dollars at work. You'll see some people from Trenton talking about Ernie at the time, and then we'll see some segments from Ernie Kovacs television shows. A moment from a show he did in 1951 in Philadelphia, a couple of things he did for NBC in 1956, a commercial that he did for Dutch Master Cigar that won an award the first year the Clios were given out, as well as some of the oscilloscope blackouts in one of his infamous musical sketches to a piece by Esquivel. So without further ado, here's Ernie.
Ernie Adams, and I was married to Ernie Kovacs, not during these early Trenton years, a little later in New York City. But he talked so much about the people that you're going to see here tonight that I feel that I know them and I know all about them. According to Ernie, his early years in Trenton were kind of a series of ups and downs seemed to follow the rest of his life. His father at one time had a beverage business, prohibition, let's put it that way, right where it is. As far as Ernie went, his life was, at first, he could remember kind of poverty, then all of a sudden everything. He had ponies and little Lord Fauntleroy suits. He had everything his heart could desire. And then just as suddenly it all left.
Ernie's the only kid I ever knew that ever came to school in a bulletproof car.
One of Ernie's very best friends in high school and earlier was Eddie Hatrack. Now, Eddie I didn't meet until we did our show in New York, and he was our musical conductor.
When I first met him, I knew immediately that this was something unusual. He was a practical joker right from the very beginning. In fact, my first experience with him was when I shook hands with him. He had one of those hand buzzers on.
From behind these portals came America's finest cigars, Coronas. And they were savored more by the late Ernie Kovacs than his appetite for Russian caviar. This was the place where almost every week I came for all the surplus, defected cigars, and Ernie Kovacs, upon hearing that I had an outlet for receiving cigars, would call me on the phone, and he would say, "Sam, can I have a few of your cigars?" He loved the cigar. You asked him if he would rather have a Del Lorenzo steak or 3 or 4 American Tobacco Company cigars, either Coronas or A&Cs, he would say, "Jacobs, I would rather have a cigar."
This is the stage of the Prospect Free Church, a stage where Ernie, early in his career here in Trenton, acted with some of us amateurs. Here on this little stage, smaller than life, Ernie appeared bigger than life, and indeed he was. And so as a member of the Prospect Players, he entertained many of the patrons who came to this little theater for a laugh, which Ernie so well knew how to give.
His best job, the one that he remembers the most vividly, was behind the cigar counter at the drugstore at State and Broad. There he was the king of the complete area.
He came to me one day and he said, "I'd like to write for the Trentonian." I said, "Well, I can only pay you but a pittance." He said, "I don't want to be paid." He said, "All I want is the benefit of good food, hard whiskey, slow women, and what have you."
Despite all the flamboyance and the need to be on, the one thing that Ernie always wanted to be known for, first, last, and always, was being a writer. It was very important to him.
He would come in and write his column, which was aptly called at that time Kovacs Unlimited. And he would give a plug to a far-off restaurant, perhaps in Seaside, or Sea Island, or down Atlantic City. And the next thing he would be doing is going out to meet these people and trading off his own opinion, which appeared in his column, the tastiest food in the world. And that's how he came to Chick and Nello, commonly known as the Homestead Inn. I'm Nello, and Ernie Kovacs used to come here and eat here. And he loved his food, and he loved his cigars. And he had the kitchen.
Ernie's last job in Trenton that got him one step closer to that big TV station in Philadelphia was WTTM Radio in Trenton. There he met Mr. Radio, Tom Duran.
Bob Crosby and the Bobcats and South Rampart Street Parade. Love that Dixieland, love that Dixieland. You know, at this particular point, if Ernie were still with us, and I hesitate to say that because he'll always be with us, but if he was still working in this medium, he'd probably do one of these fake commercials about Brodsky's. Brodsky's were Ernie's favorite topic and favorite commercial, but they weren't real. He'd advertise polka dot Brodsky's for an informal affair. He'd advertise fur-lined Brodsky's for a severe winter night. He'd also do red, white, and blue Brodsky's for patriotic occasions. And they came in 3 sizes: oh boy, gee whiz, and wow. Now most people listening to Ernie doing a commercial like that were not aware of the fact that the whole thing was a put-on. However, the inner circle, the people who were really hip, knew that Brodsky's were a piece of ladies' apparel, a brassiere. But probably the greatest stunt he ever pulled was the week-long marathon he conducted at the New Jersey State Fair, probably around 1949, somewhere in there. And at that time, he set a record, which I understand was in the Guinness Book of Records or wherever they keep records of that type, but at the time, it was a record. He stayed up and broadcast an entire week long at the New Jersey State Fair. He would have these chefs from area restaurants come out and cook him a meal in his little tent apartment. And he'd interview them, of course, on the program and ask them about their recipes and so forth and so on. And again, he cooked this whole thing up out of a need for money and finances and so forth. He was always broke and always needed more money. In walking into Ernie's home to return this camera, I saw this television set over in the corner, and I remarked about it. And Ernie said, yeah, we got one, such and such a deal, we put it in here for 30 days. And he said, you know, Tom, he said, this is the medium I've got to get into.
And so he did shortly afterward at WPTZ in Philadelphia, where I met him.
Afternoon here, like we haven't seen it before. All right, let us give you quickly some information perhaps may be of use to you. When next you meet, who, I don't know, but perhaps your television set. How's the 2 in the television set? Do you know, I mean, many of you ladies have all of these knobs in the set, but I don't think all of us are aware of just how to use them. So I thought perhaps we might take just a trifle, if we may. You'll forgive my disobedience. Now then, over here you turn your set on, of course. You get to your horizontal picture and you turn it just a little bit. Now watch. Watch it happen. No, not too far, Chris. No. Try it on the other way. You turn too far this way, you get too far that way. See? Now you take your vertical. Your vertical lengthens the picture this way, which is vertical like a brush stroke, right? See? That's how sometimes you think that you have a line in the middle of your screen. That is entire falsehood. There's no such thing as a line. Don't let it confuse. This is not a line in the picture. You think it's a line. Incidentally, your set, which you're looking at, I have this information is made by a bronze factory, so you probably get this effect on this picture, which you wouldn't get normally. Let's try it this way, shall we? What else? But we run out of things.
Time once again for Mr. Question Man. All of the questions sent to Mr. Question Man are carefully tabulated in files. Some of them are read. Our first question comes from Mr. Arthur B. Koznowski of Macon, Indiana. Arthur B. Koznowski of Macon, Indiana writes, Dear Mr. Question Man, I'm writing to you from inside a burning warehouse. Let me take a moment of your time to go back a bit. I bought this house 11 years ago in November. No, I believe it was February. Well, when I bought it, they told me that it was fireproof. By the way, please pardon the condition of this stationery. Well, at about 11 o'clock tonight, a fire broke out in the southern wing of the warehouse. It spread rapidly, and at this writing, I would say 96% of the warehouse is in flames. There goes another wall. I am standing on the last 2 feet of flooring in the north wing. I'd say that this will only last, 3 minutes, perhaps 2 with a good wind. I really am at a loss to know what to do. While I do not mean to press you, I would appreciate an answer at your earliest convenience. Best regards to you and Mrs. Question Man, Arthur Koznowski.
I am afraid that in the present day, hurly-burly of rapid transactions, we sometimes put insufficient trust in those with whom we do business. Your real estate agent was telling the truth. By law, all warehouses in Macon, Indiana must be fireproof, so you have no cause for alarm. Well, I do not mean to appear severe. I am forced to say I feel a certain embarrassment for you and your attitude toward the real estate agent. Should you manage to survive for another moment or two, you might take the time to drop a social note without mentioning your suspicion. It would be awfully nice. At any rate, good to hear from one of our listeners in Indiana.
Dear Mr. Question Man, writes Mrs. Catherine Hildebrand of Little Rock, my sister has been living with us for 13 years. My husband and I would love to have her marry and settle down. However, we have not been able to find someone for her. She is 8 feet tall. What do you suggest?
May I suggest you find 2 men each 4 feet tall?
A young student from Hightstown, New Jersey, right? Dear Mr. Question Man, I am studying science in high school. I am quite puzzled by this phenomenon. It is well known that the earth is round like a ball. Therefore, some people must be walking on it upside down. Why is it that these people do not fall off?
You have stated a common misconception. People are falling off all the time.
Mr. Nick Greco of Las Vegas, Utah, would like the answer to this question. I'm at this very moment playing table stakes poker with some very big gamblers. I had 3 queens, a 7, and a 4 in my hand. The man on my right drove all night from Wichita, Kansas to get in the game. I think he might be tiring a little now and not thinking too clearly. The man on my left took just 1 card, but he's known to play an unorthodox game. I figure him for just 2 pair, but he could be holding 3 of a kind. The pot has been raised 4 times already, twice by the man who drove from Wichita, once each by the man sitting across from me who might be bluffing. Considering that I'm holding 3 queens, do you think I should raise the pot 1 more time, call the man on my right, and then raise the man across from me, or just call and see who raises him, then raise, or should I raise the man on my left, and then drop out if someone re-raises me? Well, that seems to be all the time we have. We will do good and things, but the question man will answer such questions as, are Dave Garraway's those little seeds on rye bread? Is it proper to drink coffee in a t-shirt? Do they use real iodine on the medics? Does the DC-7 eat its young? And in a fair fight, could Rocky Marciano be Charles Colbert?
fine cigar.
Mona Lisa, tak cię zowią, bo tak tajemniczy, piękny uśmiech masz. To dlatego, że zawsze nie samotny.
Good evening, and thanks for writing.
Und der Haifisch, der hat Zähne und die trägt er im Gesicht. Und McKees, der hat ein Messer, auf das Messer sieht man nicht. Und der Haifisch, der hat Zähne und die trägt er im Gesicht.
He's the trickiest bunter in the business.
Ein Messer, auf das Messer sieht man nicht. Das Haifischflossen, wenn die Tauler gefunden. In der Brust, Mackie Messer trägt nen Handschuh
not happen, and then happen in the third or fourth week, just to make sure people were watching. We're going to have a panel discussion and Q&A now. We'll bring Joel Hodgson and Josh Mills up on the stage, as well as Jeff Edelstein. Jeff Edelstein, a longtime columnist for the Trentonian, fill-in talk show host on NJ 101.5, and a lifelong New Jersey. He's an adjunct professor of journalism at Rider University. Won't you welcome Jeff Edelstein, Joel Hodgson, and Josh Mills.
Burning where? He says, this is for Josh. I'm kidding, I don't have any.
So I guess am I saying something here?
Yeah. You can share the two mics.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, John, for letting me hang out here. I appreciate it. I found out about Ernie Kovacs. I was vaguely aware of Ernie Kovacs, but I didn't really know. I didn't know he was from Trent. I grew up in North Jersey. So I got the job down in Trentonian in '99, and it was obviously the turn of the century. We were doing this great series of articles, the biggest Trenton story of the year from each year from 1900 onward. And I believe it was the 1950 one we chose for Ernie Kovacs. And I read all about his career, the story that we did there. And I realized, man, like, wow, I want to be Ernie Kovacs. Really. And because so I was hired as a reporter, and I wanted to be a columnist. I mean, that's all I really wanted to do. And here I am saying that Ernie was a columnist at the Trentonian from 1945 to 1950. I'm like, man, I got to do this. Another thing that I remember from that story was that he would sometimes come to work in his bathroom. And I, honest to God, tried that once. After I became a columnist, my publisher sent me home. Anyway, but I wanted to be. I said I want to be like Ernie Kovacs. And so I got the job as a columnist after a few years, and I was like, man, I'm on my way. Then I got into some radio stuff, for New Jersey 101.5. I'm like, man, just like Ernie. Then I got some TV work, just like Ernie. And then he went to Hollywood and found fame and fortune. And I'm here talking to you folks today. Obviously, I'm kidding. To compare myself to Ernie Kovacs, I might as well compare myself to Babe Ruth. It's so wildly different. He was, everyone said the same thing today, so I'm just going to hit the highlight here. He was, and they're all cliches. He broke the mold. He was a pioneer. He did all these things. And what you kind of forget is when you look back on history and you say, man, this guy was a pioneer, this guy was breaking the mold, you only remember the ones that were doing it correctly, right? You don't remember, many people try new things and fall flat on their faces, right? Ernie tried new things that nobody else was doing. And if you look at, from, Laughing to Saturday Night Live, to Letterman, to Leno, to Conan O'Brien, to Jimmy Fallon, without Ernie Kovacs, I think it's safe to say that the landscape that we know today of comedy is at the very least much different. Ernie was the one who created all these things, all these great ideas, and brought it to the masses. And so obviously it's a shame, obviously sit here today, that he wasn't around to enjoy it, because when he was doing this stuff, he was the only one, right? So anyway, Josh, thank you for letting me be here today.
The weird part about it was there's a party, and there's a scene at a party, and she basically has to be herself. She said that was pretty surreal. But she loved Jeff Goldblum. I don't know if she loved the production so much because it was a very kind of downer subject. It was more about the kids getting kidnapped, which really did happen. But she said, Ernie was a blast. I mean, everything about, he'd wake up on a manic high. He was very excited about the best coffee he was going to have, the best eggs, and whatever. And she just said it was amazing to work with him and live with him because every day was like a treat. So it didn't come across, I don't think, in the production. Nothing against Jeff Goldblum. I'm not, disparaging or anything, but it was. She was a part of it. She was definitely a part of that production.
Yeah. Yes.
The gentleman who wants to be Ernie Kovacs.
Yes.
I don't know if you can give me a factual answer, maybe an opinion, or maybe Josh would know. In the picture of him that was up on the screen during the whole presentation earlier, he has this mustache and a cigar. And to me, it looks like the mustache has been darkened with a dark pencil. Did Ernie Kovacs want to
he wanted to Groucho Marx.
Hey, I'm really glad you noticed that. We think that's from Life magazine.
That's a Life magazine.
And the crazy thing about Kovacs is, especially when he was doing stuff with Bill Wendell and stuff.
Yep.
Look at those two faces, how the contrast that's built into Kovacs' face, it's almost like he was made for TV.
Absolutely.
He blew Bill Wendell, like Bill Wendell was like just this average looking, nice looking guy, but you almost can't look at him at the same time because of what's going on with Kovacs. And those pictures of him when he was little, when Louise knew him, like he's got this big, amazing round face when he's a kid, and you just go, you already are seeing it when he's a kid. He's like great looking and funny, and it translated through his whole life. So he kind of carried that. I don't think he was trying to be. I don't think he was trying to be Groucho Marx, but I think he understood the contrast of what that was doing on the picture plane. You know.
I think that was a very significant moment that Life magazine cover that he got, because essentially what happened was Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin had just broken up, and NBC offered a 90-minute special to Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis said, "I'll do 60, I don't want to do 90 minutes." And they were ecstatic, but they could not find anyone to do the last 30 minutes. So they basically went to Kovacs as like, the 10th resort and said, do you want the last 30 minutes? He said, "I'll do it, but I don't want any interference, so I'm going to do whatever I want to do." And they said, "Fine, that's great, we're going to get the ratings anyway, we really just want Jerry." And what happened was he did this.
No, it was just a basic variety show, and it shouldn't be on YouTube, but it is, and it's just an hour of Jerry, full on Jerry. He sings, he does the crazy 9-year-old, and by the end of the hour, you can see he's kind of spent, and I don't think he had the energy to do the full 90. But it's just loud and in your face, and then Ernie comes out and very quietly and says, "There won't be any talk." And even the commercials don't have dialogue. And the ironic thing, of course, is the Life magazine cover was published on April 15th.
Right.
Exactly. You're supposed to file it, and I don't think Ernie's filed his taxes that year.
I'll tell you a funny story that Henry Bollinger, who was both Ernie and my mom's publicist my mom's publicist for 40 plus years, he told me a story. So Ernie comes out to LA, it's all of a sudden he's going to live in Los Angeles, and he's meeting all these PR people. And he meets this really big PR firm. They meet at the Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and they're going to talk about Ernie's career. What they